G'day, it's Kev here in Sydney. I'm going to talk about encoding LCEVC using Raspberry Pi into MetaQuest devices and web browsers. So to start with, what's a Raspberry Pi? Most of you already know this, I'm sure, but it's extremely cheap, easy to obtain. Typically, it's $35 in most places. It's got an H.264 hardware encoder. It's ARM64 compute. It's got a really good supply chain. It's largely open source, and CSI cameras can be plugged into it, and that gives you a raw Bayer input into FFmpeg. Okay, what's LCEVC? It's low complexity enhancement video coding. It's actually an MPEG standard. VNova has got the commercially available codec implementation right now. What does it do? It splits encodings into baseline with an enhancement. And by enhancement, what this is a delta between the intended resolution that you want and the baseline encoding that you have. So rather than sending multiple full frame encodings, you just send the differences. So why would you want to do that? Well, if you compare multiple encodings, you end up with a lower bit rate. Savings can be around about 40%, and that's a saving to network operators and also CDN providers. Multiple baselines can also be used, so you get H.264, HEVC, and AV1, which you may already have hardware encoders for, and lower CPU, GPU overall, which means better battery life potentially, and it's faster to encode, and you can use existing hardware you already have. Also, it's pretty easy to decode, needs a bit more compute. So how would you encode LCEVC? Well, you can do it quite easily with FFmpeg. VNova has pending PRs with VideoLAN. So how it works is you take your baseline encoding using your hardware encoder, and typically about a quarter resolution of your final frame. And the enhancement layer then encodes using the CPU, or if the device has a NVIDIA CUDA, can be used to accelerate this. Works on multiple platforms, on ARM and Intel, and can use the NVENC, or it can use the software encoder. There's a little FFmpeg command line example there, and also Video on Edgecaster also supports this into their Video Edge platform. And what about decoding? Well, with a browser, you can use media source extensions, there's a bit of WebAssembly, and into Canvas. You can find some working examples. Shaka Player Mainline now actually has this, which you can get from GitHub today. Kudos to Joey and Vino and the team. And also, it's easy to integrate on other browser players. So Dash.js has this, and also Theo Player has this too. What's super exciting also is that it's also available on the MetaQuest. Exoplayer edits will be available shortly on open source. VNova is going to do that. And the other things that we've got coming is volumetric cloud point data, which is in demo and development. What's coming next? Well, the Raspberry Pi needs a bit more love because the GPU is not being utilized quite in the way it could be. Hardware DRM has got quite a lot of challenges ahead because of the decoder due to protected pipelines and trusted execution, and watermarks can get whacked when the video is being reconstituted. And I'm also looking to saving off sideband and nuclear enhancement files for supporting things like 8K. That's it for me. See ya.